Добро пожаловать в Иммануэл. Я очень рада, что скоро начинается наш Новый год, и я с неожиданием жду вас.
That's Russian for Welcome to Immanuel. I'm so excited to see you soon. Meet the head of Immanuel Christian School, Mrs. Rachel Frecka. Her most favorite part of the day is
My favorite part, honestly, is drop off. I love that because that's the moment that I get to see everybody, all the way from the little ones, all the way to the high schoolers. I get to say hello, how are you? I get to see their parents. And to me, it's just that daily reminder of what a blessing it is to work here and what an incredible privilege and a huge responsibility because we have the lives of these little ones in our hands.
Raised in El Paso, she and her family served in Russia for 25 years alongside Youth with a Mission. She was inspired from an early age, watching her parents serve the Lord through mission work. Mrs. Frecka was fascinated by the Cyrillic alphabet and loved Russian classical music and authors.
So I think it was just something that God put in my heart when I was small and kind of built it and nurtured it until I was old enough to make that choice and go on the mission field myself.
From day one, she loved doing God's work.
I worked with children at risk, discipleship programs, different things like that. Have been in leadership since I was about 18 years old in one capacity or another.
After homeschooling her kids for 10 years, Mrs. Frecka felt a calling.
I really felt that the Lord was saying it was time to go ahead and bring them into a regular brick and mortar school. And I really wanted to be close to them, and I had fallen in love with education.
Mrs. Frecka loved education so much that she acquired her master's in leadership. After serving 2 years as head of school, war broke out in Ukraine, and the Freckas fled Russia.
It was a shock. I mean, there's no other way to put it. We were deeply invested in Russia. We had a farm, we had jobs, we had our kids were applying to colleges in Moscow.
The Frecka family sold their farm and packed their lives into 8 suitcases, all in just 4 days.
We took the things that were most precious to us.
What were the most precious things for you?
Well, my kids' music instruments. All my children play instruments, and those were non-negotiable. Things like, the Christmas ornaments we'd collected over the years, baby albums, things like that. Things that you couldn't possibly replace.
Once back in El Paso, the Freckas found a home at Immanuel. Mrs. Frecka has big plans for the school.
Last year we kicked off our Arise campaign. And since then, the Arise values have become our official core values here at Immanuel. And I think my biggest dream is really just to see us grow in what those values mean.
Arise stands for anchored at Christ, respect, integrity, service before self, and excellence.
We're going to be working really hard on our academics. You'll notice there have been a lot of changes to the building. We're trying to get things freshened up and kind of refurbished. But I would say long term, I really believe that God is doing something special in El Paso. And, I never in my wildest dreams thought I would be back here. And I believe that Immanuel Christian School is a very important part of that, not just for the future generations, but for right now. And so my vision for Immanuel Christian School is that we would begin to have that kingdom impact throughout the city, not just with our small community, but that other schools and in the school districts, churches, families that don't know the Lord, that they would be able to come here and experience Jesus, and that we would be a light that goes out in this community and makes a difference for the kingdom of God.